This is the video for 4.1 using graphs to relate two quantities. And remember, I am going out of order in this chapter for a number of reasons. I did upload these examples for you to print out so you can put them in your notebook. But let's go over problem number 1. The book actually does a really good job in this section explaining how to analyze a graph. So I have a graph here. And it says the graph shows the volume of air in a balloon as you blow it up until it pops. What are the variables? And describe how the variables are related at various points on the graph. So we have volume and time. And volume is dependent upon the time. The volume of air in the balloon is dependent upon how much time has passed. So what we're doing is we're looking at this graph and we're trying to speculate what is the story that this graph is trying to tell us, because all graphs tell a story. And so what we're trying to do is trying to figure out what is this graph trying to tell us. So the variables are volume and time. The volume increases each time you blow and it stays constant each time you pause to breathe. When the balloon pops in the middle of the fourth blow, the volume decreases to 0. So what we're doing is we are looking at a graph of information, and we are trying to determine what is the possible story that this graph can be communicating. What may be happening here? Okay, so now let's look at these next two examples. We have the length of a board, and the length of the board is dependent upon how much time has passed. So let's speculate as to what's happening here and what story is this graph communicating to us. Well, there's a piece of wood, maybe. We don't know what type of board this is. Let's just pretend it's a piece of wood. There's a piece of wood or some other board that is being cut a certain length after a certain time interval. And then after 3 times, the cutting stops. So let's look at the next example, my June cell phone cost. My cost is dependent upon how many minutes of calls I've made or how long I've been on the phone. So my total bill is going to be dependent upon how many minutes I've been on the phone. So again, what could be happening here? Let's speculate. Well, we could have a cell phone plan that you could have a cell phone plan that gives you a certain number of phone call minutes for a fixed price. But the second you go over those allowed minutes, you are then charged a certain price per minute. So look at the graph and listen to my story, and do you see how my story could be a possible explanation for this graph? And so that's what you're going to be doing on your homework. You're going to have graphs, and what you're going to be doing is you're going to be speculating as to the story that this graph could be communicating to us. So go ahead and do your homework. If you need to use the answer key because you're completely stuck, please do so, and email me if you have any questions.